Gebet öffnen. Lieber Vater im Himmel, wir wollen dir danken, dass du uns hier versammelt hast. Und wir bitten jetzt für deine Gegenwart. Und wir beten jetzt, dass du uns hilfst, alles zu überlegen, zu bedenken, was wir jetzt hören werden. Hilft uns, deine Wahrheit zu verstehen. Und dass wir das sehen, was du uns lernen möchtest. In Jesu Namen. Amen.
Alright, the notes are in the Livestream group.
Die Notizen sind in Livestream-Gruppe.
This evening we want to look at the trumpets a little bit.
Und heute Abend wollen wir die Posaunen anschauen, ein bisschen.
I don't profess to fully understand them.
Und ich behaupte jetzt nicht, sie völlig zu verstehen.
But at least that what I understand or what I think I understand, I will just lay out and you can add your understandings too.
Aber das, was ich glaube, ich verstehe, ich werde hier auslegen und wir können unsere Gedanken da hinzufügen.
Okay. So this morning we look at the seals, right?
Heute Morgen haben wir den Siegeln angeschaut.
And we saw here in the last reform line.
Und hier in der letzten Reformlinie haben wir gesehen.
We saw first 6 seals.
Die ersten 6 Siegel.
Okay. And I will use now a different color just to mark the trumpets now with it. Okay.
Und ich werde hier eine andere Farbe benutzen, um auf derselben Linie hier die Trompeten, also die Posaunen zu markieren.
Okay. So, what is this and what is this?
So, was ist das hier und was ist das hier?
Yes.
Die zwei Zeiten des Trübsals.
So it's trouble.
So, Trübsal.
And trouble.
Weiteres Trübsal.
And we understand, right? That's just the smaller fractal of it.
Und wir verstehen, dass das hier ist nur der kleinere Fraktal von dieser Zeit des Trübsals.
Trouble and trouble.
Da hat man wieder Trübsal und Trübsal.
Okay. And most of the time we always look at this illustration right from the Sunday Law to the final review, which is our binding off.
Und meistens schauen wir diese Linie an, also diese Zeit des Trübsals, Sonntagsgesetz, finale Untersuchung, das ist unsere Zeit des Bindens.
Okay, so when we go to our notes,
und wenn wir die Notizen jetzt anschauen,
let's start with a quote from CET 111.
Und wir fangen an mit dem Zitat von CET 111, das ist der zweite Zitat.
Just to remind ourselves of this quote, we know it very well.
Nur, dass wir dieses Zitat erinnern, wir kennen das bereits.
Because this speaks about the 2 times of trouble.
Es spricht hier über die 2 Zeiten des Trübsals.
Okay, Marius, you want to read the first paragraph, please?
You mean the December 16th?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
December 16th, 1848, the Lord gave me a view of the shaking of the powers of the heavens. I saw that when the Lord said heaven in giving the signs recorded by Matthew, Mark, and Luke, he meant heaven, and when he said earth, he meant earth. The powers of heaven are the sun, moon, and stars, they ruling the heavens. The powers of earth are those who rule on the earth. The powers of heaven will be shaken at the voice of God. Then the sun, moon, and stars will be moved out of their places. They will not pass away, but be shaken by the voice of God.
Okay, and Philip, you want to read the next quote? Paragraph, sorry.
Darkly clouds came up and clashed against each other. The atmosphere parted and rolled back. Then we could look up through the open space in Orion, whence came the voice of God. The holy city will come down through that open space. I saw that the powers of earth are now being shaken, and that events come normal. War and rumors of war, sword, famine, and pestilence are first to shake the powers of earth, Then the voice of God will shake the sun, moon, and stars, and this earth also. I saw that the shaking of the powers in Europe is not, as some teach, the shaking of the powers of heaven, but it is the shaking of the angry nations.
Alright, so we understand, right? There's these two shakings. First the shaking of the earth and then the shaking of the heavens and the earth.
So wir verstehen, dass es diese zwei Erschütterungen gibt. Zuerst die Erschütterung der Erde und dann die Erschütterung der Himmel.
And she says the powers of heaven are sun, moon and stars.
Und sie sagt, dass die Kräfte des Himmels sind die Sonne, Mond und Stern.
So therefore when do sun, moon and stars get shaken in our line?
So auf unserer Linie, wann werden die Sonne, Mond und Sternen erschüttert?
Yes.
So,
Okay.
der 6. Siegel.
So this waymark.
So
right?
hier, diese Wegmarke hier.
So I can place here sun, moon and stars, right?
Hier kann ich die Sonne, Mond und Sterne markieren.
Alright. So but this is the first time of trouble here.
Aber das hier ist die erste Zeit des Trübsals.
And here what is shaken here?
Und was wird hier erschüttert?
Yes, the earth, the angry nations, right?
Die Erde, die Zorn der
And
Nation.
it was typified by
Wurde vorausgeschattet durch
Yes.
1848.
So let's go now to what Jane Loughborough wrote about it.
So, jetzt gehen wir hinunter und wir lesen das, was J.M. Loughborough darüber geschrieben hat.
Let's read the two paragraphs here.
Diese zwei Absätze.
Phil, you want to read the first one?
The commotion and unrest of France spread rapidly to other countries: Russia, Hanover, Sardinia, Sicily, Naples, Venice, Lombardy, Tuscany, and Rome caught the same mob spread. Within 3 months, all Europe was astir, and over 30 empires and kingdoms were in the greatest disorder. Thrones were burnt in the streets, kings and emperors were fleeing and hiding for fear of losing their lives. Politicians predicted that there would be a general revolution of the government of the world.
Okay. So in these 3 months there was this great uproar, right?
So, in diese 3 Monaten gab es diese große Aufruhr.
And we know these kings, they were fleeing away and hiding themselves.
Und wir wissen, dass diese Könige haben geflüchtet und sich verborgen.
But now let's read the next paragraph.
Aber der nächste Absatz lesen wir jetzt.
David?
Some 3 months later, the outburst among the nations quieted down. Not, however, by a settlement of their grievances, but in a manner that journalists themselves could not explain. Of this trouble, Horace Greeley in the New York Tribune said, "It was a great wonder to us all what started so suddenly, that confusion among the nations. But it is a greater wonder still what stopped it."
Yes. Alright, so what didn't take place in this revolution?
So, was fand hier in dieser Revolution nicht statt?
Okay, there was great disorder, right?
Also es war große Aufruhr.
But what because it's also called the Second French Revolution. Okay.
Weil es wurde auch der zweite französische Revolution
So
genannt.
what was the difference between the Second French Revolution and the First French Revolution?
Was war der Unterschied zwischen der zweiten französischen Revolution und der ersten französischen Revolution?
They didn't manage to overthrow them in this one, but the
Yes.
second one they did.
No, in the first one they overthrew it in the French Revolution, but this is the Second French. Right?
Yeah, but that's what I mean. But in our line,
Yes,
it's
yes.
the other way around.
Yes.
So.
Exactly.
I think this is the third because there was also another one before this one. 18th.
Okay.
Well, the bit that's not marked in history
Yes.
is that.
I mean, this is, I think, always called the Second French Revolution.
I think so.
But it doesn't matter. Yeah, it's not so important. Okay.
Also der Unterschied ist es, dass hier haben sie es nicht geschafft, die Regierung zu überwerfen, aber in der französischen Revolution, also haben sie wohl.
Yeah.
The point is that prophecy shows that 1848 is first, and then the French Revolution second.
Yes.
So it doesn't, I mean, it doesn't show that there's three of them, it shows that there's two.
So what he said is
I mean, it's in a sense, it doesn't matter the term so much, whether this is now the second or the third French Revolution. It's, what matters is that prophecy marks these two. Okay, so that's the point. Okay, so so in this 1848 and the shaking of the earth,
Also 1848, die Erschütterung der Erde,
they could not overthrow the government.
die konnten die Regierung hier nicht überwerfen.
It seemed like they would do it, but it suddenly came to a stop.
Also es schien, als wäre sie Erfolg haben, aber es kam plötzlich zu Ende.
But here in the French Revolution, we understand this marks the midnight, right?
Aber hier in der Französischen Revolution, wir wissen, dass das Mitternacht
So it
markiert.
marks the shaking of the heaven and the earth.
Das markiert die Erschütterung der Himmel und der Erde.
They actually overthrew the French government.
Sie haben es tatsächlich geschafft, die französische Regierung zu überwerfen.
Ja, oder umzustürzen.
That principle is also confirmed in the first and second woes, because in the first woe, and you have to look at the symbols, is hurt not the trees
Gras.
or the grass or any green thing. But it also says the same in Revelation 7, and trees represent people, but they also represent nations.
Mhm.
So they were not allowed to overthrow any nations, but only torment them. But when you come down to there, it's different.
Yes.
Also das ist auch dasselbe Prinzip ist in die erste und zweite Wehe. In die erste Wehe,
No,
da,
that's not the first and second one. Next line down. This one, yes. That's two Sunday laws.
alright, okay, sorry. Also so in der erste und zweite Wehen dasselbe Prinzip ist zu sehen, weil in der ersten Wehe es steht, dass sie den Bäumen und den Gras und kein grünen Sache beschädigen sollten. Aber in der zweiten Wehe, das war ganz anders. Also da dürften sie töten.
Okay. So therefore, yeah, we understand. Okay, here governments are not overthrown.
So hier verstehen wir, dass die Regierungen nicht unterworfen sind.
I will just write it for space sake here. So governments not overthrown.
Also hier nicht überwerfen.
So referring to this time here, okay.
Spricht über diese Zeitperiode hier.
And governance overthrown.
Und hier wohl.
Okay. Because we understand, right? For instance, Daniel, he stands here,
Weil wir verstehen, dass Daniel steht hier.
and what does he predict?
Und was sagt er voraus?
You overthrow the kingdom.
Yeah, the tree is gonna be cut down.
Also
Right?
dieses Baum wird hier niedergehauen.
So definitely at the end, these governments will be overthrown.
So auf
Okay.
jeden Fall am Ende diese Regierungen werden überworfen.
Okay. And why do actually historically, why did these trumpets start to sound?
Und historisch, warum haben diese Posaunen angefangen zu blasen?
Because Rome moved its capital. I mean,
Yes,
because of the prophecy.
yes, let's go to the first quote.
So lasst uns in den Notizen zu der allererste Zitat
Because
gehen.
how many things are new at the end of the world?
Wie viele neue Sachen gibt es jetzt
Nothing,
am
right?
Ende der Welt? Gar keine.
So,
Was the decree of Constantine?
yes, because of the Sunday law back then, right?
Also wegen der Sonntagsgesetz damals, das Dekret von Konstantin.
Constantine, and then also this Council of Laodicea, and then the judgments of God came, because the trumpets are judgments of God. Right?
Also wegen Konstantin und diese Council,
Das Konzil.
das Konzil von Laodicea. Deswegen sind die Gerichte Gottes gefallen.
Yes, we can just read the first half of the quote until the end of the bold-faced.
Und wir lesen das erste Hälfte des Zitats bis zu Ende von Fettgedruckt.
Sandra, you want to read this first, please?
A time is coming when the law of God is, in a special sense, to be made void in our land. The rulers of our nation will, by legislative enactments, enforce the Sunday law, and thus God's people be brought into great peril. When our nation in its legislative councils shall enact laws to bind the consciences of men in regard to their religious privileges, enforcing Sunday observance, and bringing oppressive power to bear against those who keep the seventh-day Sabbath, the law of God will, to all intents and purposes, be made void in our land. A national apostasy will be followed by national ruin.
Yes, okay, so here's the principle. The Sunday law marks the national apostasy.
So, hierin ist das Prinzip, das Sonntagsgesetz markiert diese nationales Abfall
And national ruin will be followed.
und nationale Ruine folgt das.
Ruin. In Deutsch ist just Ruin.
Ruin.
Yes. Okay. So, and therefore, what happens now here at the end of the world must have been already beforehand in the past, right?
Und was geschieht hier am Ende der Welt, muss schon bereits in der Vergangenheit geschehen.
So when pagan Rome made the national Sunday law, national ruin followed for that.
Also als heidnisches Rom das nationale Sonntagsgesetz gemacht habe, dann nationales Ruin folgt.
And the national ruin was done by the 4 trumpets, right? First 4 trumpets, they brought down West Rome.
Und diese nationale Ruin wurde ausgeführt durch die ersten 4 Posaunen. Die sind die heidnisches Rom zu Stürze brachten.
And that's why I would suggest that the trumpets, they start with the Sunday law.
Und deswegen werde ich vorschlagen, dass die Posaunen fängen mit dem Sonntagsgesetz
Because there's
an,
no new thing under the sun.
weil es nichts Neues unter der Sonne gibt.
So back then the Sunday law was the national apostasy followed by the trumpets.
So, da in der Geschichte dieses Sonntagsgesetz war der nationale Abfall und darauf folgten die Posaunen, die
Okay.
ersten 4 jedenfalls.
And now let's go and look at those trumpets.
So, lasst uns jetzt diese Posaunen anschauen.
And I don't profess to really understand what they mean in a sense, what is illustrated there, but we can just try to place them on the line, and the meaning of it, the Lord will reveal to us.
Ich behaupte nicht, die Auslegung von das, was niedergeschrieben ist, zu verstehen, aber wir werden sie auf die Linie versuchen zu markieren und einfach erlauben, dass der Herr uns daraus was zeigt.
Okay, let's read Revelation 8, verse 7.
So, Offenbarung 8 und Vers 7.
And David, can I read this, please?
The first angel sounded, and a full hail of fire mingled with blood. They were cast upon the earth, and the third part of trees was burned up, and all green grass was burned up.
Yes. Okay, so what can we see here?
So, was können wir hier erkennen? Was können wir hier sehen?
It's something very similar to what's marked in Revelation 7 and 9.
Das ist was sehr Ähnliches, was in Offenbarung 7 und 9 markiert ist.
Yes, in the sense you mean with the trees and the grass and
Yes.
these things, right?
Also im Sinne von den Bäumen und das Gras.
Yes. But
Islam is commanded, they're not, but these are not, this is different.
yes,
Also Islam würde befohlen, den Gras und den Bäumen nichts anzutasten, aber hier ist es anders.
yes. So they are allowed to burn up here the trees and the grass, right?
Also hier werden sie erlaubt, die Bäume und das grüne Gras zu verbrennen.
And it says hail and fire mingled with blood came down, basically.
So Hagel, Feuer vermengt mit Blut kam heraus.
So if we would place this here starting with the Sunday law,
Also wenn wir das hier Anfang vom Sonntagsgesetz markieren würden,
okay, I mean, do we have fire marked there?
haben wir Feuer am Sonntagsgesetz markiert.
Well, you've got the two witnesses that are allowed to bring down fire and blood, plagues as often as they will.
Also man hat den zwei Zeugen, denen ist erlaubt, Feuer und Plagen, so oft wie sie wollen, herabzubringen.
I mean, historically, this was a power coming against Rome, right?
Also, historisch war das hier eine Macht, die gegen Rom ankam.
So, and these first four trumpets, they brought down West Rome.
Und diese ersten 4 Posaunen, die haben westliches Rom zu Stürze
This would be
gebracht.
the south
Yes,
coming
right.
against the north.
Yes.
Das wäre dann hier das Südmacht gegen die Norden kommen.
Because it was against the power that made the Sunday law, right?
Weil es kam gegen die Macht, die das Sonntagsgesetz erstellt haben.
So it would be Daniel 11 verse 40, the north versus the south, right?
Dann wäre es Daniel 11, Vers 40, das Norden gegen den Süden.
So in the south would be the ones coming now against the power that made the Sunday law.
Und hier wäre es den Südmächten, die gegen den Nordmächten, die Kraft, die den Sonntagsgesetz gemacht haben, entgegenkommen.
So I have no idea, in a sense, how the south will fulfill verse 7,
Also ich habe keine Ahnung, wie der Südmacht hier Vers 7 erfüllt.
but it's probably the direction we have to search for.
Aber das ist wahrscheinlich die Richtung, den wir suchen müssen.
Okay. So basically, if we understand the framework, yeah, and know where to start these trumpets, then we can search for it.
Also wenn wir den Rahmen verstehen, also wie das und wo das anfangen sollen, dann können wir auf jeden Fall in die Richtung suchen.
Okay. So everybody can at least see the frame.
I got this
So
one.
kann jeder zumindest den Rahmen erkennen.
Now, we know at the Sunday law, it's where the sixth seal is held, right?
Yes.
Also wir wissen, dass am Sonntagsgesetz, das ist gerade da, wo der 6. Siegel gezügelt wird.
So it's held until the servants of God are sealed in their forehead.
Und es
Right?
wird geziegelt, bis die Diener Gottes im Stirn gesiegelt sind.
But the 7 trumpets are a type of the 7 last plagues. So basically, what they're doing is their judgments in mercy,
Aber
whereas the
die
7 last plagues are judgments without mercy.
7 Posaunen, die sind Typen für die 7 letzten Plagen. Und die 7 Posaunen sind so die 7 letzten Plagen in Gnade und die 7 letzten Plagen eben ohne Gnade.
So although when the 6th trumpet comes, he says, hold, 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 he's holding back the 7 plagues, but the 7 trumpets are being loosed to typify what's coming.
So, ob,
We mean in the sixth seal.
Yeah, the 6th, what did I say?
Trumpet.
I said 6th seal.
so wenn der 6. Siegel kommt, obwohl Halte, 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 Halte gesagt wird, also die Posaunen werden losgelassen, was eine Typus auf die 7 letzten Plagen sind.
Yes. Oh, I mean, I definitely agree with this.
Also ich stimme das zu.
I mean, it's just at the moment, yeah, for me difficult to understand how the South can fulfill these symbols here.
Für mich ist es einfach schwierig zu vereinbaren oder zu verstehen, wie das Südmacht diese Symbole hier im Vers 7 erfüllen kann.
But for me, it's only logical that it must be the South, because it's the power coming against the kingdom that made the Sunday law.
Aber für mich ist es nur logisch, dass es muss den Südmacht sein, die kommen gegen den Nordmacht, noch Nordreich, die das Sonntagsgesetz gemacht haben.
Should you raise it?
Yeah, the dragon or being almost 10 horns, and
Also der Drache, heidnische Rom, ist 10 Hörner.
that's 4 trumpets came from 4 different horns. They were already part of being Rome.
Also die ersten 4 Hörner, die kamen von Rom, die waren ein Teil von Rom.
So also history shows that it's also something from inside. It's not
Also
something
das
from outside.
zeigt, dass es irgendetwas Internes ist, es ist nicht irgendein externes Macht.
Yes, it's a civil war, right?
Es
That's
ist ein Bürgerkrieg,
revolution.
Revolution.
Okay, and then let's go to the next trumpet and just try to glean something from this.
So, lasst uns zur nächsten Posaune gehen und wir versuchen, irgendetwas daraus zu ziehen.
Let's read verses 8 and 9.
Die Verse 8 und 9.
And this is Daniel 11.
And the second angel sounded, and as it were a great mountain burning with fire was cast into the sea, and the third part of the sea became blood. And the third part of the creatures which were in the sea and had life died, and the third part of the ships were destroyed.
Okay, so what can we see here?
So, was können wir hier sehen?
This great mountain, right, burning with fire,
Dieser große Berg, die mit Feuer brennt,
is cast into the sea.
wird ins Meer geworfen.
And what is this great mountain?
Was ist dieses großes Berg?
Babel.
Yes, according to what?
Revelation 18.
What did you say?
Babel.
Also es ist Babylon, gemäß Offenbarung 18.
Maybe it's 19.
Vielleicht ist es Offenbarung 19.
I throw in verse 21, right?
Yes, but I get your point, but you've got to look at it historically. Who was it historically?
Just sorry.
Yeah, it was James Serek. He was fighting against Rome. He set the sea on fire and, you know, he was burning up their ships.
Also historisch, es war Genseric und der ist gegen Rom gekämpft und der hat das Meer in Brand gesetzt und hat die römischen Schiffe verbrannt.
Yes. I mean, we have to look it up whether the great mountain was Genseric himself or whether
It's represented
he
that
cast.
he punishes this
Yes.
movement. Yes, agreed.
Sorry?
We must look it up whether Genseric was this great mountain or whether he punished the great mountain,
Which was Babylon.
which was better.
Ah, also wir mussten das wohl forschen, ob nun mal dieser große Berg Genseric selber war oder ob Genseric dieses große Berg bestrafte. Also dieser große Berg in dem Sinne würde Babylon.
Okay, so you got your verse you wanted to read? Yeah.
Did you not just say a verse?
Yes, but we didn't read it. Revelation 18:21.
Also Offenbarung 18 und Vers 21.
Want to read it?
Yeah. It says, and a mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone and cast it into the sea, saying, Thus, with violence shall that great city Babylon be thrown down and shall be found no more at all.
Okay. And also in Jeremiah 51:25.
Und auch in Jeremia 51, 25.
Maybe we can go there.
Jeremia 51, Vers 25.
Jeremiah 51:25 says, Behold, I'm against thee, O destroying mountain, saith the Lord, which destroys all the earth, and I will stretch out my hand upon thee, and roll thee down from the rocks, and I will make thee a burnt mountain. Okay, so when judgment comes upon Babylon, it becomes this burnt mountain.
Also wenn Gericht auf Babylon kommt, Babylon wird dieses Berg.
Okay, and in the second trumpet, we see these ships being destroyed.
Und der zweite Posaune, wir sehen auch diese Schiffe, die zerstört werden.
And what does ships represent?
Was stehen Schiffe da?
It's the Jonah, it's the economy sinking.
Yes, exactly.
Jonas, es ist die Wirtschaft, die sinkt.
And where else do we find this economic war mentioned?
Und wo finden wir diese Wirtschaftskrise noch erwähnt?
Wirtschaftskrieg. Economic war.
Wirtschaftskrieg, why Krieg?
Because it's a war, right? And the ships get destroyed.
Yeah, it's a war between the north and the south. It's the Egypt. It's
Yes.
what do you call?
Mark Antony.
Yeah, Antony, Cleopatra, all that
Yes,
stuff.
yes, yes.
Also es ist ein Wirtschaftskrieg, also in das Norden gegen Süden, Mark Antony und
It's Daniel
Cleopatra.
11, right? Let's go Daniel 11.
Es ist Daniel 11.
Yes, it's the Battle of Actium, correct. Yes.
But if I remember rightly, in this first war, the south tries to overthrow the north, but the north wins.
Yes.
right? But that would be before the second revolution, you know what I'm saying?
Yes. You mean before he?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
You know, because they're going to succeed.
Mhm.
But in the first one, the first time they don't.
Yes. So, yes, that's something. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, because in Daniel 11, right, that's the verses 25 to 27, where this battle of Actium is described.
So Daniel 11, die Verse 25 bis 27, wo dieser Kampf um Actium beschrieben wird.
It was Mark Antony, who was the king of the south, against I think Octavius, right, was his name.
Also Mark Antony, König der Süden, kämpfte gegen Octavius.
And this was this great sea battle, but in this battle the north won.
Aber das war dieser große Heereskampf, aber in diesem Fall die Norden ist gewonnen.
But in the second trumpet, who won there?
Aber in der zweiten Posaune, wer hat da gewonnen?
In the second trumpet.
Oh, second trumpet, it was Genseric.
Yes, it was Genseric,
Zweite
right?
Posaune, es war Genseric, der
So,
gewonnen ist.
in this sense, the south would win in this illustration, right?
In diesen Darstellung ist das Süden, der gewinnt.
So that's something we have to also consider.
Da ist irgendetwas, was wir in Betracht ziehen müssen.
Okay, so, and I also have a question, that I ask myself many times,
Und ich habe auch eine Frage, die mich öfter stelle.
because if it's correct to place the first trumpet here, which I think definitely it's correct,
Wenn
Das
es
haben wir doch.
wohl richtig ist, der erste Posaune hier am Sonntagsgesetz zu markieren, und ich denke wohl, dass es richtig ist.
and we also mark, for instance, the first beast here, right, of Daniel 7,
Und wir markieren auch das erste Tier von Daniel 7 hier,
the lion.
das
Okay.
Löwe.
But then we also mark the second beast, right, coming after,
Dann markieren wir aber das zweite Tier, das folgt,
which is the bear.
was
Ja.
der Bär ist.
And what does the bear have in his mouth?
Was hat diesen Bär im Maul?
3 ribs.
3 ribs.
3 Rippen.
And what does it illustrate?
Was stellt das dar?
The threefold union religion,
Yes.
the spiritualism, Catholicism and Protestant.
Exactly.
Das ist Spiritismus, Katholizismus und der abgefallene Protestantismus.
So it marks how the threefold union comes together.
Es markiert, wie diese dreifaltige Union zusammenkommt.
And where on our line comes the threefold union together?
Und wo auf unserer Linie kommt die dreifaltige Union zusammen?
Yeah, the Sunday.
In the Sunday law, right?
Am
So
Sonntagsgesetz.
in this sense, somehow the first beast and the second beast are marked here at the Sunday law.
So
Right?
die erste und zweite Tiere sind irgendwie hier am Sonntagsgesetz markiert.
But the third beast, what is the third beast?
Aber der dritte Tier, was ist das?
Greece.
It's Greece,
Das
right?
ist Griechenland.
And how many heads does it have?
Und wie viele Köpfe hat es?
4.
4, right? So, and when we look at Daniel 8, where does the he-goat have then these 4 horns?
Where did he go?
Have these 4 horns?
Also in Daniel 8, wo hat dieses Widder diese 4 Hörner?
Yes, at the midnight cry, right?
Am Mitternachtsruf.
Therefore, somehow the first 2 beasts are marked here, but the third and the fourth is marked here.
Also irgendwie die ersten 2 Tiere werden hier markiert, aber die dritte und vierte hier.
And somehow I see the same pattern with the trumpets.
Und irgendwie sehe ich denselben Muster mit diesen Posaunen.
Because when we go now to the third trumpet,
Weil wenn wir jetzt zum dritten Posaune gehen,
let's read verse 10 and 11.
lass uns die Verse 10 und 11 lesen.
And I think it's you, Brahma, to read, please.
What do you want me to read?
Revelation 8, 10 to 11.
Offenbarung 8, 10 und 11.
And the third angel sounded, and there fell a great star from heaven, burning as it were a lamp, and it fell from the third part of the rivers and upon the fountains of waters. And the name of the star is called Wormwood, and the third part of the waters became wormwood, and many men died of the waters because they were made bitter.
Yes, so what do we have here under the third trumpet?
Was haben wir hier unter der dritten Posaune?
It's bitterness.
Yes, bitterness.
bitter waters.
Yes. And who comes down from
Wer
heaven?
kommt herab?
Great star.
A great star.
Ein
Yeah.
großer Stern.
Which is, who is it perfectly representing?
Und wer stellt das dar?
Satan, right?
Satan.
So, and we understand Satan comes down 2 times.
Wir verstehen, dass Satan zweimal herabkommt.
He comes down here at the Sunday law,
Er kommt hier im Sonntagsgesetz herab
and he comes down at the midnight cry.
und aber auch am Mitternachtsruf.
So, in 2 times is the star that comes down from heaven. Right?
Zweimal, das ist dieser Stern, der vom Himmel herabkommt.
So, somehow, I just mark it now. Okay, like. And so the first and the second is here.
Also die erste und zweite sind hier,
But the third and the fourth is here.
aber die dritte und vierte sind hier am Mitternachtsruf.
And if we would illustrate this here on this illustration,
Wenn wir das hier auf der obrigen Linie darstellen würden,
would be like this.
das würde denn so aussehen.
Okay. And and where would the fifth trumpet be on this illustration here?
The top one.
Yes.
Also wo würde der fünfte Posaune hier auf diesen obrigen Linie?
Let's
Sein.
just
That's
read.
the first wall, right? So
Yes, let's just read Revelation 9 verse 1 again.
Lass uns Offenbarung 9 und Vers 1 lesen.
It says, "And the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven unto the earth, and to him was given the key of the bottomless pit." Okay, so we always showed this marks the Sunday law, right?
Also wir haben immer gezeigt, dass das Sonntagsgesetz markiert.
Therefore, I would suggest, as we already laid it out this morning, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and the fifth would be, in the sense, in this Sunday law.
Also wie wir das heute Morgen ausgelegt haben, wir haben 1, 2, 3, 4 und der fünfte wäre denn an diesem Sonntagsgesetz.
But we understand this is also then this Sunday law.
Wir verstehen, dass dieses Sonntagsgesetz ist auch diese.
So here would be the fifth, and then we understand this is the sixth, right? The second row.
Und das ist der sechste, der zweite Wehe.
And the seventh trumpet marks the close of probation.
Und
Right?
die siebte Posaune markiert der Schluss der Gnadenzeit.
well, this, okay, but okay.
Yes. What's the point?
Doesn't matter, I'll cover it in a moment. I'm not arguing that point, that it also comes a bit before it, but it doesn't matter.
Yes, it depends always when, what illustration you want to show. But if you want to show the end, right, then it's.
Also es kommt darauf an, was man zeigen möchte. Wenn es das Ende zeigen möchte, ist es da.
Yes. Okay. So, and we understand this is also then this here, right?
Und wir verstehen, dass diese Fraktal hier ist, ist auch dieses hier unten.
Yes. And then you have like a star falling down from heaven here,
Dann hat man einen Stern, der hier vom Himmel herabfällt.
and you have a star falling down from heaven here in the third trumpet.
Und auch in der dritten Posaune hat man hier einen Stern, der herabfällt.
Okay. So everybody can at least understand why I would come to these thoughts.
So kann jeder zumindest verstehen, wie ich zu diesen Gedanken komme.
I mean, we haven't looked at the fourth trumpet yet. Let's maybe turn to this.
Also wir haben das vierte Posaune uns angeschaut.
And let's read Revelation 8, verse 12.
Offenbarung 11, Vers 12, 8, Vers 12.
And Scott, I think it's your turn.
And the fourth angel sounded, and the third part of the sun was smitten, third part of the moon, and the third part of the stars, so as the third part of them was darkened, and the day shone not for a third part of it, and the night likewise.
Yes. So what do we find here
So was sehen wir hier
under this trumpet?
unter dieser Posaune?
What gets smitten here?
Was wird hier geschlagen?
Yes, this sun, moon, and stars.
Das ist Sonne, Mond und Stern.
So, therefore, it marks this time where the heavens and the earth are shaken.
So,
Right?
es markiert diese Zeit, wo der Himmel und der Erde erschüttert werden.
So, therefore, I mark the fourth beginning here at the shaking of the heavens and the
Deswegen
earth.
markiere ich den 4. hier am Anfang von der Erschütterung von Himmel und Erde.
And let's just read the pioneer understanding of it.
Lasst uns jetzt das lesen, wie die Pioniere das verstehen haben.
Let's go to page number 2.
Gehen wir zur Seite 2 in den Notizen.
It's the historical application of it from Daniel and Revelation.
Das ist die historische Anwendung dessen von Daniel und der Offenbarung.
And let us just read to the end of the boldface.
Und wir lesen das nur bis zur Ende des Fettgedruckten.
It says, we understand that this trumpet symbolizes the career of Odoacer, the barbarian monarch who was so intimately connected with the downfall of Western Rome. The symbols sun, moon, and stars, for they are undoubtedly here used as symbols, evidently denote the great luminaries of Roman government, its emperors, senators, and consuls. Okay, so when they get smitten, means now the Roman government got overthrown.
Also wenn die hier geschlagen werden, es heißt, dass der römische Regierung zu Stürze gebracht ist.
Okay, I'm not in pain here watching this, so I'm sorry I have to say something. Right, so
Sure.
let's move back a little bit. Look, there's 4 main boxes there, right? So what I would suggest is that these 4 trumpets, the first and second go in those first 2 boxes, and the third and fourth go in those second 2 boxes, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Also ich schlage vor, es gibt 4 Hauptkasten hier sozusagen und ich werde sagen, dass der erste geht hier, der zweite hier rein, der dritte hier und der vierte da rein und ich werde meine Gründe jetzt geben, warum.
Because, firstly, the midnight cry is now making this deity. They're not overthrown there, right?
No, don't say that. But
Mitternachtsruf, der
it
ist
begins
ein
here.
No,
Right?
no, no.
Todesdekret da und die werden nicht da umstürzt.
The Lord is not a roundabout God where you throw a dart and it lands near where it's going to happen. He's very precise. That's happening at the 9th hour.
Also das geschieht zur 9. Stunde.
So what I'm saying is, when you bring it down, when you bring that fractal then down below, you
Also
have
wenn
the
man-
sun, the moon, and the stars falling right there.
Wenn man dieses Fraktal hier runterbringt, hier hat man die Sonne, Mond und Sterne, die fallen.
You get my point? Just take.
Hier.
You mean here?
Yes, this is that's that box there between the 9th hour and the final review, right?
Also das hier ist der Kasten, das hier ist der Kasten hier.
Yes. Okay. So, but I just want to. Maybe you're right with it. Okay.
This is the 1260. It's the
Yes.
end. It's where the fear comes upon the nations, right? Where you rise out of your grave,
Es
right?
ist der 1260. Es ist der Punkt, wo die Furcht über die Nationen kommen, weil du aus deinem Grabe heraufgestanden bist.
I just want to use your own argument. Okay.
Also ich möchte dein eigenes Argument anwenden.
Because I placed it here because I said it's like a period. Okay, and at the end they are basically overthrown.
Also ich habe es hier markiert, weil das eine Zeitperiode ist und am Ende die werden
Okay.
umgestürzt.
I would disagree with that, but I wasn't going to get into it. I'm going to touch that because I think that the 7th trumpet is not at the end. It finishes before you get to the end. I think when you go into that between the midnight cry and the close of probation, right? You have this 96th hour. It's marking this point where, because it says when you go to the 7th trumpet, right?
Wenn man zur 7. Posaune geht,
Verse 15.
das ist in Offenbarung 11 und Vers 15.
It says, the 7th angel sounded, there were great voices in heaven saying, the kingdoms of this world have become the kingdoms of our Lord and his Christ, and he shall reign forever and ever. So that happens at that 9th hour when he says it's done.
So das geschieht zur 9. Stunde, wenn er sagt, dass es ist getan, also so in dem Sinne
for the
hier.
first group, right?
Yes, but the point is, that is the fulfillment, and that's where he now pours out that punishment, because the 7 trumpets are being fulfilled in the 1260, not after it.
Diese 7 Posaunen werden innerhalb der 1260 erfüllt und nicht danach.
So it's the 1260 is the end of the time of trouble. If you put it at the end, you're adding to the time of trouble.
Also der 1260 ist der Zeit des Trübsals, und wenn man den 7. Posaune am Ende der 1260 markiert, dann addierst du zu der Zeit des
help me to
Trübsals.
understand
Okay,
why is it
Just
in?
Just put a between. Okay, for instance, right? You know, right? Let's go back a little bit. From the Sunday law, the midnight cry, you have the first woe, right?
So von Sonntagsgesetz bis zum Mitternachtsruf hat man die erste Wehe.
Okay, then from the midnight cry.
Yeah, down here you have the second one. Right?
No, the second woe goes. I already did this a couple of weeks ago. The second woe goes to the 9th hour.
So der zweite Wehe geht bis zur 9.
Okay.
Stunde.
And then would be the third woe, because everything would be contained in the time of trouble.
Und danach gibt es der dritte Wehe, denn alles werde innerhalb der Zeit des Trübsals.
Otherwise,
I would say yes and no, because that's the 7 last plagues here, right?
Ich würde sagen ja und nein, weil
Okay,
da
but
hier ist der 7.
the
letzte Tag.
7th trumpet is within the 1260. It's the type of the 7 last plagues. It's not the 7 last
Die
plagues.
7. Posaune ist innerhalb der Zeit des Trübsals, es ist eine Typus für die 7
I
letzten
mean,
Plagen, es ist nicht die 7 letzten Plagen.
You did something a couple of weeks ago, and I challenged you on your thought. It wasn't challenging your thought because I saw your thoughts were right, but what you were doing at the 9th hour, you were marking the nation's been overthrown, right? And remember I said to you, I says, but they don't get overthrown until the end, and you went, oh yeah, I'll have to think about that, right? But here's the confirmation for it right here, so
No, but might be the case, but still, you have it there in some sense, but it's here, really,
that's the
right?
7 last plagues at the end.
Yes. So the 7th trumpet, right, marks in perfect sense, the final close of probation for everybody, and then the third woe comes with the 7 last plagues.
Die 7. Posaune markiert der Schluss der Gnadenzeit für alle, und dann kommt der dritte Wehe mit den 7 letzten
If you
Plagen.
take
Yeah, the last reform, right? So, because that's October 22nd and it's perfect application, right?
Das ist 22. Oktober.
And this is where the 7th trumpet started to sound.
Das ist, wo die 7. Posaune fing an zu blasen.
Right. So, in the sense, and then you have the 7 last plagues.
Okay, I'm still keeping my mind open, but this 1 and 2 together, 3, 4 doesn't make sense. But I'm
Yeah, I mean, I also struggle with this, but I just see it with the beasts, okay? And the beasts just show this, so I don't know what this means.
Why are they together though?
Warum
What
sind sie
justification
zusammen?
have you got that? The only thing you've got justification of putting that together there is because the sun, moon, and stars. But I'm saying
Yes.
if you do the fractal, it's also confirming it right there.
Yes, but...
We've put the 7th plague there, Lorenz. In the Germany presentation, we did it. This was the 6th plague, where the 6th trumpet is, and then came the 7th plague. And the 6th and the 7th, the 6th one gets held, it is the same point in time where Christ comes. It's the 9th hour. I'm telling you, it's there. But anyway, we will get there eventually. I don't want to make...
Yeah, I mean, I'm totally open to these things, but I just observed this, you know, you have the first and the second beast here, marking the Sunday law, and you cannot take away the 3 ribs, you know, the threefold union doesn't come together here.
Also man hat der erste und zweite Tiere hier, und diese Rippen, diese dreifaltige Union in den zweiten Tier, das ist das Sonntagsgesetz, also das dreifaltige Union kommt nicht hier zusammen.
Okay, but
And therefore,
not arguing that, but I
yes,
don't know why you make
no, I just want to use this illustration or this example to show that the Bible puts the 1 and 2 together in 3 and 4 at least. We have an illustration of this, okay?
Die Tiere sind eine Darstellung, wie der Bibel der 1 und 2 zusammenbringt und der 3 und 4 zusammenbringt.
So, and therefore it's not something strange that I just make up in my mind.
Und
But
deswegen ist es nicht irgendetwas
we
Fremdes,
we have a biblical example for this.
es ist nicht irgendetwas Fremdes, was ich nur irgendwie her aus dem Kopf geholt habe, sondern es gibt auch ein biblisches Beispiel dafür.
So that's my point.
Das ist mein Punkt.
I'm not sure we go.
Oh. At least according to our understanding at the moment, we said the bear represents the Sunday law, right? The 3 ribs and all these things.
Also unser jetzigen Verständnis jedenfalls, wir sagen, der Bär stellt das Sonntagsgesetz dar, diese 3 Rippen und so.
But it's one kingdom, that's why it's not 2 kingdoms.
No, yeah.
Aber es ist ein Königreich.
Yes, but still it marks 2 entities. Okay, so it's one. First and the second is.
It's church and state. It's not 2 kingdoms. That's what I'm saying. You're using it as an argument.
Yes, but still the Bible marks it as 2 beasts. Okay.
Aber der Bibel markiert das als 2 Tiere.
So you have 2 trumpets. So maybe you can show later that it's one judgment. I don't know yet.
Also
Okay.
du hast 2 Posaunen hier. Vielleicht können wir später zeigen, dass alle 4 ist nur ein Gericht.
That's the bad argument. But anyway.
No, I just show that there's at least some justification for these thoughts. Maybe they're wrong, okay, but I
Yeah,
just.
no, that's okay. I'm also open.
Okay.
Also ich zeige nur, dass es zumindest einige Rechtfertigungen gibt für diese Gedanken, aber vielleicht sind die falsch. Also ich bleibe nach wie vor offen.
Okay, so, anyways, we could see that when the heavens and the earth are shaken,
Also wir konnten sehen, wenn der Himmel und Erde erschüttert werden,
it means that now the governments are overthrown.
das heißt, dass die Regierungen umgestürzt sind.
Okay, maybe just look at quickly this point about sun, moon and stars.
Also können wir vielleicht schnell nur diesen Punkt über die Sonne, Mond und Sterne anschauen.
Let's go to Genesis chapter 1.
Lass uns zum Offenbarung 1 gehen. 1. Buch Mose 1, Verzeihung.
And let's read verse 16.
Und wir lesen Vers 16.
And Marius, it's your turn again.
It says, And God made 2 great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also.
Okay, so here you have sun, moon and stars.
So, hier haben wir Sonne, Mond und Sterne erwähnt.
And what is the sun and the moon to do according to this verse?
Und was sollen die Sonne und Mond tun, gemäß dieses Vers?
One rules a day, the other one rules a night.
So they stand for rulership. Right?
Also die stehen für Regentschaft.
Okay, when we now go to Genesis.
Sorry, it's just verse 14. It says they're also for signs and seasons, because that's the mark of the sign. I just want to make that.
Yes, yes.
Vers 14, die sind auch für Zeichen und Saison.
Yes. Because they mark the
In
sign. Yes.
Revelation, they're a sign.
Also in der Offenbarung, die sind ein Zeichen.
Okay. Now let's go to Genesis 37.
Lasst uns jetzt zu 1. Buch Mose 37 gehen.
And let's read verse 9 and 10.
Und wir lesen die Verse 9 und 10.
There's also sun, moon and stars mentioned.
Hier werden wir sehen, dass auch Sonne, Mond und Stern erwähnt
Philip, you
werden.
want to read this for us?
He dreamed yet another dream, and told it his brethren, and said, Behold, I have dreamed a dream, Lord, and behold, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars made obeisance to me. And he told it to his father and to his brethren, and his father rebuked him, and said unto him, What is this dream that thou hast dreamed? Shall I and thy mother and thy brethren indeed come to bow down ourselves to thee to the earth?
Okay, so Philip, what can you understand here? What would sun, moon and stars illustrate in this story?
Was können wir hier verstehen? Was werden Sonne, Mond und Stern hier in dieser Geschichte darstellen?
Means father, mother and the brethren, right?
It's a hierarchy.
Yes, it's a hierarchy.
Vater, Mutter und Geschwister, also ein Hierarchie.
So you see that they are rulers, according to Genesis 1.
Also gemäß 1. Buch Mose 1, die sind Regentschaften.
And they are, according to Genesis 37, a hierarchy. Okay.
Und gemäß 1. Buch Mose 37 ist eine Hierarchie.
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 So you have basically back then the emperor,
Also damals hat es Imperator,
the senators and the consul,
die Senaten und Konsul.
which would be the president,
Das wäre der Präsident,
the
Freeform government.
yes, the Congress and the Senate.
also das Kongress und das Senat.
So they get
The Supreme Court.
Hmm?
The Supreme Court. The Congress and the Supreme Court.
what is
The
it?
Senate is the Congress. The Senate and the House and the Congress.
Yeah, you have two houses there, right?
Yeah, okay, I thought you meant the three
Yes.
parts.
Okay. So the two houses and the president.
Also diese zwei Häuser und der Präsident.
Okay. So therefore, yeah, we can see that when the heavens and the earth get shaken,
So wir können sehen, dass wenn der Himmel und der Erde erschüttert werden,
governments will be overthrown.
Regierungen werden umgestürzt.
So what can we expect
So
when we
was
come to the midnight cry?
können wir erwarten, wenn wir am Mitternachtsruf ankommen?
And when we come out at the civil Sunday law, will the world look the same?
Also wenn wir zivile Sonntagsgesetz rauskommen, wird die Welt noch dasselbe aussehen?
Okay, no, but that's what Mark and Swan is saying in the start.
Yes.
Mark right there.
Okay. So therefore, when we come to this crisis where the heaven and the earth get shaken,
So wenn wir zu dieser Krise einkommen, wo der Himmel und der Erde erschüttert werden,
we can expect that when we come out here at the civil Sunday law,
also wir können erwarten, dass wenn wir hier am zivilen Sonntagsgesetz herauskommen,
that governments got overthrown.
dass die Regierungen umgestürzt sind.
I mean, in the type probably not all governments, okay.
In unsere Typus, unsere Zeit jetzt, vielleicht nicht alle Regierenden.
Okay, Lorenz, I'm gonna make an argument. Why he's putting it at the end when you've got it there at the beginning?
No, because the whole time the heavens and the earth get shaken, right?
So
It's
der
not
gesamte
just here
Zeit, es wird erschüttert.
and here it's finalized when they now get cut down. That's my point.
Und hier ist es also
And
zum
listen,
Schluss gebracht, wo sie
sorry,
umgehauen
when
sind.
it's marking the point, that's where it happens. It's not happening later, it's happening
Yeah,
there.
but in the French Revolution was all this time period, right?
Also die französische Revolution war diese gesamte
But
Zeitperiode.
it doesn't matter, the French Revolution, when they rose up, they overthrew it immediately, and that's what brought the chaos.
I
Aber
don't
die
know if I
französische
agree with that.
Revolution, als sie Aufstand gebracht haben,
Yeah.
die haben die Regierung
Die-
sofort
die
umgestürzt
hat die
haben und das ist das, was der
Fight
Chaos gebracht hat.
Right, that's the revolution is all basically the control of the, not saying the government was vanquished, but what I'm saying is that all control that the government had was broken down. They had to fight to get it back, right? So
Also die Kontrolle von der Regierung
Yes.
ist alles zusammengebrochen und die mussten kämpfen, um es wieder zu erringen.
No, my thought is only because at the end, you get this punishment on the nations, right? Pharaoh gets punished, the tree gets punished.
Also meine
So.
Gedanken war hier am Ende, Pharao ist umgehauen und dieser Baum wird umgehauen.
So because the papacy is not overthrown here at the beginning,
Der
right?
Papst wird hier nicht am Anfang
that's what I'm
zum
saying.
Yeah, that's why the shaking of the heavens and earth begins here, but it's here where they get overthrown.
Also die Erschütterung der Himmel und der Erde fängt hier an, aber es ist hier am Ende, wo sie umgestürzt sind.
So in this sense, it's the whole time is the shaking of the heavens and the earth, and at the end, they're done away with.
Also die gesamte Zeit ist die Erschütterung von Himmel und Erde und am Ende, die werden weggerafft.
So that's at least my argument.
Zumindest das sind meine Gedanken.
I will deal with this later, but it's okay.
Okay. And anyways, we can definitely expect, okay, that the world will not look the same when we come here at the end, okay?
Wir
at the
können auf jeden
Sunday.
Fall erwarten, dass die Welt wird nicht dasselbe aussehen, wenn wir hier am Ende ankommen am zivilen Sonntagsgesetz.
So maybe we will have an European government already or something like this.
Vielleicht werden wir sogar eine europäische Regierung haben oder sowas ähnliches.
So there will be already great changes taking place now in a very short time period.
Also es werden große Veränderungen stattfinden in einer sehr kurzen Zeit.
So we're standing really on the verge of a great crisis. Okay.
Wir stehen auf dem Linie oder der Startlinie von einer großen Krise
Eine Schwelle.
oder Startlinie oder Schwelle.
And that's why we need to get out of these cities, because when the governments get overthrown, also these cities will be overthrown.
Und deswegen müssen wir aus diesen Städten hinauskommen, denn wenn diese Regierungen umgestürzt werden, werden auch die Städte umgestürzt.
And these things are real tests and real calamities that will come upon us.
Diese Dinge sind echte Prüfungen und echte Krisen, die auf uns kommen werden.
Okay, so even though we could not find out every particular in this study here,
Und obwohl wir nicht jede Einzelheit oder Detail hier in diesem Studium festlegen können,
at least I think we have now some more thoughts that we can study out.
zumindest haben wir jetzt einige mehr Gedanken, die wir ausstudieren können.
And the Lord will make these things fit very soon.
Und der Herr wird diese Dinge sorgen, dass diese Dinge alle zusammenpassen, sehr bald.
Amen?
Amen.
Okay, then let's close with our prayer.
Lasst uns mit Gebetsrunde abschließen.